When you retire, you may get a chance to go to football heaven. This is football heaven.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's that new Buster. That's that new bus. Oh, you know I'm from Strong Island. Buster Bus is my man, leaders of the new. That's my dude. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. How are you, brother?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you giving us your time today, man. I know you.
Good to rap with you, and Happy New Year too, bro.
St. Louis Rams legend, NC State's own, but more importantly, he was a key member to the greatest show on turf. Today, we're catching up with Mr. Torry Holt. Torry, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well, Jameer. It's good to be with you again. Happy New Year, bro. And it's good to be, as always, catching up and talking football.
Happy New Year to you as well, man.
Yeah.
And I just want to dive in, Torry. I really want to go in. 8 consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards receiving and 80 or more receptions, both from 2000, 2007. Only 2 other receivers to accomplish this. Jerry Rice, Marvin Harrison, both here in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What would it mean to you and your family to get that final notice this time around?
Oh my goodness, it'd be amazing, yo. I think it'd be certainly validation to Hall of Fame career. I had the pleasure of watching those guys that you mentioned, Jerry Rice and Marvin Harrison, 2 guys that can win games. So to be in that lore, to be talks amongst that is outstanding. Guys that I mimicked along with my own athletic ability. It's good to carry the torch of the receiver position. That if you think about the history of the position, it's a lot of great guys, man. And I go on and on. Art Monks, Tim Browns, go on and on. So to be able to play that position and play it at that level, which is considered a Hall of Fame level, it requires a lot of toughness, stamina, longevity, durability. You got to be able to adapt, be versatile. So I think in my 11-year career, I was able to show that consistently. Consistently is the key. Consistent production meant a lot to me. I watched Magic Johnson, and I watched Michael Jordan, and I watched Lynn Byers. I watched guys that were productive players. And again, that stuck with me. So I said, if I ever got a chance to play it, and I love playing basketball, football, baseball, whatever it was, if I ever got a chance to play the sport that I love and I like, I wanted to be productive. I wanted to make sure when folks came to the stadium, whether it was Pop Warner, high school, when I went to Hargrave Military Academy, on to NC State, to the pros, I wanted the folks to come and watch someone that loved playing the game, loved playing at a high level, and you can feel his enthusiasm and passion for football.
Speaking of playing at a high level, what was that transition like for you? Because you named NC State. When you came into the league, what was that like, walking into the league and being around the great Isaac Bruce, Pro Football Hall of Famer, your good friend, and learning from all the rich, that those guys in the locker room?
Well, I was already playing at a high level coming in, right? I was, drafted 6th overall. So I knew how to play at a high level. I knew how to practice and get there. That was part of my fabric. When I got to St. Louis, I saw how to practice as a pro, how to be a pro on a consistent basis, which helped. And I had enough maturity and sense to listen. And I came through the league, you didn't talk unless, you asked, unless a veteran, asked you to talk. You got up and sang, you entertained. You made sure that the vets were taken care of. So for me, it was about that. It was making sure that I was doing what I was asked to do. And then being drafted 6th overall, there was expectations that I also had to meet. So those veterans, Ricky Prohl and Isaac and brother Ray Agnew, who's with the LA Rams now and working there. I had good examples, and it meant something for me to make sure that I rewarded those guys for extending themselves and again showing us on a day-to-day basis, just through their work and through their words, how to be a pro.
What was it like the last couple of weeks of getting that phone call from Mr. Baker, like let you know that you were part of the finals class again?
Look, this is crazy. I've missed every time Mr. Baker has called me. It's been 3 times. I've missed them. I've missed the calls. It's crazy. But I called him back at me. I don't know why that is. It's crazy. But I need to get that fixed. But it's always good to hear his voice, you know?
Let me get it right. Torry, it's so good to hear from you. Absolutely. I want to let you know that you're a part of the finalist class of 2021. We look forward to getting your career here cemented in Canton, Ohio, where we're going to honor the heroes of the game.
That's it. That's him all day. And I sit there and I just and I love and I marvel in that, to be again considered as a finalist with the football guys, the guys that are the pillars of our league, and to have a part of that, to be a part of that foundation is incredible, man. So I enjoy hearing Mr. Baker every single year. I'm just hoping that I feel I'm getting closer. Hope I get 1 or 2 more votes. 1 or 2 more votes. But it's an outstanding class, Jameer, for real. If I could just name a few guys,
Yes, absolutely, please.
John Lynch, Richard Seymour, Zach Thomas, Reggie Wayne. I got a chance to meet a lot of these guys last year too, and we all had so many. And it was good to see how everyone dealt with their emotions about what was going on. For me, not being a first ballot guy, the process, I've learned something about the process every single year, and it's, and again, it's good to be, in the mix with these dudes. And I played against John. I played against Rondé Barber there at Tampa. You're talking about the Bucks, man, and that Tampa 2 defense, boy, it was a physical defense. So that was a welcome. Also, Jameer, that was also a welcome to the league too. How physical the game was as well. But really, really happy to be amongst the finalists.
This is an old quote from a teammate of yours, and he quotes, "Obviously, we have a great contingency with the greatest show on turf with myself, Kurt, and Marshall, but we're just waiting on those guys. And every time we see each other, we talk about the Hall of Fame and how it would be complete. It won't be complete until those 2 guys are in the Hall of Fame. But as a teammate, it would be a proud moment for me as well." That's the gentle giant himself, Orlando Pace. He made this comment last year, and Bruce got in, and now it will be a completion with you coming in. But what does that mean to you, that, when you think of all the guys of, Isaac, Marshall, Orlando, Kurt, and they're just like, it's like they're just waiting for that last piece. Come on, brother.
You know what, man? When you was reading that, it gave me chills, because that's the kind of effect for me I wanted to have on my teammates, and I wanted my teammates to think of me in that light. So that in itself brings me great joy and gratification. And then now being able to be immortalized into the hall with my teammates, who I feel the same sentiments that he just mentioned. It was the same sentiments I feel about him. Now to be able to have that bust and have that jacket and that ring, and not only the ring, but the championship ring, something that will be with us forever, memories, and being being in the history books in that way as well is it's real cool, man. I get chills every time thinking about it. So I can't wait to the moment I hope to get an opportunity to celebrate with all of us being acknowledged with such a high honor as the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Torry, who was some of the inspirations for you, when you were young coming up? Who were those Hall of Famers or just players in general that you kind of looked to? And, I know I read off your stat with Marvin Harrison and Jerry Rice, but were there 1 or 2 guys or just that one guy that you kind of looked to?
Yeah, well, I want to say this. My mom and dad, first and foremost,
Absolutely.
were my examples, no question. You talk about hard work, getting up, sacrificing, and making it happen, bringing it in for their kids and showing us how to live, first and foremost. And then them allowing me to have the creativity and imagination to want to play sports. But guys like Tony Dorsett, I had a chance to meet Tony last year. And my daughters and my wife got a chance to meet him. He was so warm. But Tony Dorsett, I just remember Tony streaking out that 99-yard touchdown, right? Because in North Carolina, you got the Cowboys, you got the Steelers. That was in the Redskins. So those were the teams that you got in the South. Art Monk was a guy, number 81. He's also one of the reasons why I've worn the number 81. His production, his humility, Art Monk's humility on the real. It was about work, and I love that about Art. And then Steve Large, and then Jerry. Jerry comes along. It just really takes it to a whole nother level. And I admire Jerry's stamina, his discipline, his artistry, how he mastered the craft. So those are guys that come to mind. And then you mentioned Marvin and my teammate Isaac, and then Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. I can go on and on. But inspired by so many, Jameer. But those guys are come to mind first and foremost.
Now, on the flip side, I want to talk about the young Thundercats in the game, because we spoke of consistency before, and you're one of only 2 players of all time to have 6 consecutive seasons with 1,300 plus receiving yards. That record wasn't broken or matched until 2019, when Julio Jones tied that sixth consecutive season. Who are some of the young guys that call on you now and that you pour into now, and you see them coming up being the next Torry Holt, Isaac Bruce?
Well, you know what? I haven't had, to be honest and transparent, I haven't had anyone really pour out to me that in that way. But when we do have conversation, when I have been around guys, like when I at the combine or at the Senior Bowl, I get an opportunity. I ran into Deebo Samuels, had some really good conversation with Deebo Samuels. He's really tough, physical player, but he had the attitude. He was asking the right questions about what it takes to play in the National Football League. So Deebo Samuels comes to mind. Kendrick Bourne, who I helped coach at the NFLPA, is a guy that comes to mind. He's with the San Francisco 49ers. Really worked and earned his way onto a roster and making some plays. Boy, can he run the deep dig, a route that we ran in St. Louis, the 20 to 22-yard dig. Kendrick Bourne runs that with his eyes closed. And then guys like the Jefferson kid from Minnesota is fantastic. CeeDee Lamb is a young stud. Jerry Jeudy also is in that class as well. I think he'll be better next year as he continues to get more continuity with his quarterback. T. Higgins with the Bengals. I'm sitting. It's funny you asked me that, because I have the list of the young wide receivers right here in front of me. Hopefully, anticipated that you would ask me that question. But those are some guys that come to mind, and at the receiver position that are young and up and coming. And then Julio Jones too. Can't forget Julio and Larry. The leaders, right? These are the guys that are ultra productive.
That's right.
D-Hops. These guys are ultra productive receivers, so shout out to those guys as well. But Julio, with his size and strength, a younger version of Terrell. I don't do a lot of comparisons because Terrell is a tough outfit to compare someone to. But Julio Jones has some of that Terrell Owens in him, and he's very productive.
Well, I want to have some fun with you, Torry, because I got some pictures, and I want to get your reflections, because Isaac has one of these like photographic memories that I showed him an artifact one time, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that was 19 such and such and such and such," and he went way back, and he was like, "Oh yeah, me and my man Torry, come on, we got one of these type of memories." So I want to throw these pictures out, and I want to get your reflections. Let's have some fun.
All right.
I don't know what y'all was doing right here. It looked like y'all was in the end zone.
We was in the end zone. That might have been against Atlanta, and we waiting on everybody to come. The offensive linemen, the tight ends, everybody's coming to the party to bob and weave. That's what we used to do. Because
bob and weave,
because you got to think that touchdown that you just saw. Isaac and I are the last guy. We're the deepest guy. We're the last guys of defense. Like, we have outran the defense, so we're waiting on everybody else to come down for the celebration. So that's what we're doing. Isaac's pointing and I'm waving like, come on, come on. So that's what that is.
I love this right here.
Oh my goodness, that was we're down in the red zone, and the Titans, who love the blitz in the red zone, we knew it. We didn't even have to communicate. We just looked at each other, Kurt and I, and we're on the same page. And I crossed the corner's face and caught the touchdown in the Super Bowl. And I'm waving up, and Isaac is, as the big brother right behind me, making sure I was good.
I see you guys. This was way before everybody would do
We were some of the we were certainly some of the originators with the bump.
With the bump, the bump.
I know it was happening a little bit in the NBA as well. It was more chest to chest, but we decided to freak it and go back to back.
I like this because you like move, get out the way, get up off me.
Yeah, I think I was coming out of a 7 stop and I was spinning right there, and there was a corner that was closing. So I was just I was stiff arm. I had a pretty decent stiff arm, man, when I had my run out the catch ability, but when my knees and stuff started to ache me.
Breakaway right here, man.
Yeah, that's against Arizona right there. Dansby, who was a hell of a linebacker for them, man, by the way. But that was against Arizona. It looked like I'm streaking through, trying to step through a tackle or something.
I love this.
Oh yeah, that's my signature. I mean, if you see me and you do this to me, I know exactly what that means. Touchdown.
Now, as a hip hop head, and we was just listening to some Buster beforehand.
Yep.
I had to go here, bro.
Oh man, yeah. Big shouts out to the homie Nelly, man. To Mo, man. Yeah, well, that was down in U City at the Air Force One video shoot.
2 purse.
Yeah.
And I was gonna wear my Air Force Ones today, but I ended up wearing the J's, old school J1s. But I was gonna rock the Air Force for my man today.
Yeah. I love ones, man. I've always worn them, and then they called us up. Nelly and them called us up like, "Yo, y'all want to come down to the video?" They got in contact with us, and we was like, "Yeah." So after practice, we all peeled down and was in the video, was chilling. It was cool.
That's cool, man. Well, to switch gears a bit again, I want to really talk about the amazing work that you're doing in the community, and all seriousness aside with your foundation. I can't imagine. I unfortunately too had lost my mom to cancer. I lost my mom to cancer at the age of 35, though. I can't imagine losing my mom at the age of 10. But if we could talk about your foundation or some of the amazing work that you and your brother have been able to do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And sorry to hear that about your mom. We lost our mom to cancer in 1996 to lymphoma. And we vowed to do something in honor of her name. So we started a foundation, Hope Brothers Foundation, that supports young kids with a parent or guardian that's battling cancer. Mm-hmm. You can go to hopebrothersfoundation.org to learn more about what we're doing. But we just celebrated our 20th year last year of service in the community with our foundation, yo. Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and that was really that was a very an emotional year with all that was going on last year, and obviously with the pandemic, and it's still happening. But that, and then the emotion of, hey, we've been around 20 years servicing the community that we love, trying to help elevate young kids through education and information, encouragement for them to go on, though their parent or guardian is battling cancer. So. We work with UNC Rex. We work with Duke. We work with Duke Raleigh Hospital. We work with out in St. Charles at the Siteman's Cancer Center out there. Our program helping, again, young kids. They have monthly meetings, all centered around cancer education, group therapy, peer empathy. We all can use a little more empathy for sure. But yeah, so that's what our foundation is doing, man. We've been doing it for 20 years, and we have something really exciting coming up in 2021 that we're excited about. We're getting an opportunity to commemorate our mom at UNC Rex Cancer Center here at the end of this year. And our construction company, my brother and I's construction company, Hope Brothers Construction, is a part of building the Cancer Center here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So. A lot of emotions into this whole project, but really excited and enthused to continue our work. Again, you can learn more about what we're doing at hopebrothersfoundation.org, helping young kids with a parent or guardian that's battling cancer. Oh, and one last thing, Jameer. Just 2 years ago, we just started a scholarship program for our kids. So the kids in our program in our Kids Can program, age from 6 to 16. Well, they age out, but they still have aspirations to go on to university. So they stay around the program. And we help those kids with scholarships to go on to university. Because again, you got to imagine when you hear cancer, when cancer penetrates the home, resources, energy dries up pretty quickly.
That's right.
So we thought it would be good with our sponsors and our donors, folks that help us in the fundraising that we do. We thought it would be a good idea for a portion of those funds go towards those kids' scholarships. So this past year, we were able to scholarship 7 kids from our Kids Can programs off to university. Yeah, so that's what
Amazing.
Holt Brothers Foundation, thank you. That's what Holt Brothers Foundation is all about. That's what we're doing. And our goal is to do 20 more years. So if you're out there and you can help us, you feel our story, again, go to holtbrothersfoundation.org, learn more about what we're doing. And I tell you what, Jamil, my brother and I are involved. We're not just a name.
Right.
We're heavily involved. We're on the boards. We're on the advisory boards. We have a direct line to our executive director and folks that help us get to our goal and our mission. And that's to, again, uplift our young folks with a parent or guardian that's battling cancer.
That's amazing. And you also, too, are still a part of the game in a different level. Talk about your involvement with the NFL Legends community.
Yeah, man. And that's what I've been enjoying that, because I get a chance to connect with our former players and current players and talk to them about what's available for them. The NFL Legends in our community and what they're doing, the opportunities that's available for our former players is incredible. The education that we get, the ongoing education that we get post-career is phenomenal. And the Legends provide that community for us. We're up to about almost 12,000 Legends now in our Legends portal. It's over 20 plus thousand guys has played, maybe even 25, maybe, somewhere around there that's played our game. So we still have work to do, but we're certainly encouraging them to join the NFL Legends community. Tracy Perlman and those guys, and Troy Vincent. I mean, everyone does a good job.
Yeah, man, they're legit. They're legit.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're
certified.
Yeah.
Certified. I mean,
and it's good, and it's good for our players need to our current and former players need to know that we have that kind of leadership.
That's right.
Along with our coordinators, Leonard Willer and those guys. I mean, our directors and then our coordinators with their leadership. It's good. It's a good product. It's something that when you come off the field, you have a home. You have a brotherhood in which you can walk into. And we've all traveled everything post-career. There's someone that has a story. Everyone's story is different post-career, and that's fine.
Right.
And it's good for guys to be able to know that and have somewhere where they can come, let down their guard. And then if they need to be rebuilt or if they need to just continue to build on what they have, it's available in the NFL Legends community.
That's great stuff, man. And just in closing, when you look at your retirement, the time of your retirement, you were top 10 in receiving yards. And I have to read this stat off: the most receiving yards in a single decade, 12,594 yards with 868 receptions. Do you feel like you left everything out there on the field, Torry?
Absolutely, I do. And that's why I felt so comfortable and leaving the game as gracefully as I came in and as I played it. I left it all out there, and my knees said you can't do it anymore. My mind at times said, hey, body said you can't do it anymore, and I was totally fine with that. And it was still at times, you as a competitor, you have some feelings, and you feel it sometimes, but since then, I honestly can say, having played in the National Football League, letting folks in the league and beyond the league know that what I wanted to get into and what I wanted to be post-career really helped too. And I'm still shaping myself. I'm still growing. I'm still evolving. And I love that about life. And I love that about myself. And the National Football League has played a huge role in my development, man. And it continues to do that. And now I have an opportunity post-career to share that with people, particularly the guys in our league, but even in our communities. It's important to me. I'm aware of it, and I take pride in it. And I think, heck, man, putting on the gold jacket, certainly gives you a little bit more armor to go out to the community and into our NFL community, into our communities around the world, and here in the country. Gives you the armor to be able to go in and work and get more things done. And I'm excited about that.
Well, Torry, we're excited about having you here again, and thank you so much, and we wish you nothing but the best. Torry Holt.
Look out, man. Absolutely.
Right here on the mission. Thank you, fam. Thank you. Thank you so much.